just fees. You know, you land on that thing on the board and you get chance, and it says pay every player $50 or whatever. If it was like a utility tax or something, anything but rent went into that same pile in the middle of the thing. So
okay, so you said you had money in the middle of the board and also under free parking. You had two pots of money.
No,
or your free parking money just went to the middle of the board.
Everything was in the middle of the board, and then if you landed on free parking, you won the money in the middle of the board. Everything except rent. Rent goes to the person,
right?
You know, but if you were paying like a jewelry tax or whatever it is, then that money goes in the middle of the monopoly board, and when you land on free parking, you get there might be $1,000-$1,500 in there.
Oh man,
you know,
I love
I've
Monopoly
played it that way too. Yeah, I do too.
We haven't played in probably I want to say about 2 years.
So you know what I mean?
Maybe a year and a half. You know, but we used to play a lot. You know, me and the family.
Yeah, yeah,
and we'll have battles.
Yeah,
you know, and
our kids have been grown for too long, and we've kind of gotten out of the house. What about Yahtzee?
Never played Yahtzee.
Oh, never played Yahtzee? You played Yahtzee, the boss man, Kevin Richardson.
I have a
Yahtzee
yard set somewhere around.
Yahtzee's fun, man. It's dice.
Okay.
And it's
I played craps.
So, I mean, dice are dice. You know what I'm saying?
If the quarter.
I've never played craps. I've never played. You have to teach me how to play dice. Yeah.
Craps. Hey.
I've been thinking forever that little covered deck deal that I got out behind the house. Put a couple of card tables in there, have some people over, light a fire. You know, kids can run around in the yard. Somebody could be playing a game over here. We could barbecue something. Yeah. Come springtime, I can't do anything right now. I'm busy. But come springtime, when the weather starts getting warmer, we're going to have a barbecue at my house.
All right.
We'll have a good time.
I'll be there.
My redneck next door neighbor will come over with a case of beer.
Hey,
I'm sure.
You got some cool neighbors, man.
I got some cool neighbors.
When I looked over there and saw that damn pig,
yeah,
I was
they got 3 of them.
Damn.
These are the
they got pet pigs.
Pigs.
They pet pigs.
Hey, they're good pets though.
Not good for slaughter. They pets.
I did just call my neighbor a redneck, didn't I? Hey, sorry, Alan, man. Look, you're a good dude. You're a country boy. He knows what he is.
I would have classified him as a redneck.
You know what? Here's the thing. If you are stuck in a ditch, I guarantee if you call Alan,
he'll be there to pull your ass out.
He'll probably come with more than what you need just to have some fun with it. You know what I'm saying? You know, he's going to be, that's solid kind of people right there.
Right.
Solid kind of people right there.
Shout out, Alan.
Shout out, Alan. It's a pleasure to be your neighbor, my friend. A pleasure. Yeah, this guy he's got some kids and they like to have friends over, you know? And he texted me a week or two ago, I guess, you know, his kids were having some friends over and he told them not to park in front of my house, but, you know, if they parked over there to run them off or whatever. And I was like, I don't care if, you know, you just parked your car there.
If they were you know.
They were raising hell, but they were raising hell in his yard, not in my front yard. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, I didn't have any, you know. But it's just nice to have neighbors that are courteous enough to, you know what I'm saying, to reach out like that.
Especially, you know, the roads are public.
True.
Like, I could park in front of anyone's home as long as I'm on the public road.
It's wild you brought that up. My son just went through a situation like that, and he lives in a duplex, and somebody was parking you know, that's a whole nother thing. I'm not going to talk about his business, but he just went through a situation like that, and the guy was like, the roads are public. Yeah, but if you parked in front of my house, like what if somebody parked a car in front of your house and it was there for a week? Just a random car there.
What can you do about it?
I don't know.
You could probably get someone to tow it away for you, but you might have to pay that tow bill if you want them to tow it away.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, when I was in the restaurant business, if somebody left a car in the parking lot, you know, for
that's
too
private
long,
property.
But that's
restaurants
private property. Yeah,
I'm talking
on the road.
I'm talking.
But how much
tax paid?
But how much of their wheels need to be on your yard before it's considered in your yard? Like, what if you can't mow a strip or two of your yard because this car is parked out there?
If it's in my property, it's on my property. I'm saying I don't own the road in front of my house.
Right. So if it's just strictly in the road,
I don't own it.
But then it seems like the cops would come and get it because it's in the middle of the road. And if it's pulled over onto the side, if it's wheels, I mean, I know there's an easement in your yard, but you know what I'm saying? I don't know how that works. Like if I got to go around it to cut my grass, I feel like I ought to be able to have it removed, right?
Now, if it's in my driveway, that's a different story.
Oh, that's a whole nother story.
A whole other story. But if it's just parked out there and
I don't know.
On the road, you know.
It would be interesting to see how that. We don't have sidewalks and curbs in my neighborhood.
He's on the road.
I forgot you're a sidewalk and curb.
Yeah,
kind of
I'm
guy.
a sidewalk curb neighborhood.
We country folks, man. There's no, you know, you just roll right up in somebody's yard if you want to.
Right. I think we record.
Well, I believe we are recording.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to Vendor Chronicles, my friend.
Welcome, Vendor Chronicles. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages.
Coming to you from that 86 Kid studio,
live and in color.
downtown Huntsville, Alabama.
It's that Shane the Brain.
And cue the messenger.
Cue the messenger.
And with Kevin the Boss Man Richardson.
And we got our illustrious
producer,
Kevin the Boss Man Richardson.
with his incessant work towards perpetuating the podcast.
Yes.
Incessant work.
Incessantly perpetuating.
This really is more work than I think maybe I thought it was going to be when we started. I figured we'd come down here on Monday night and tell
just
some
talk
stuff,
shit.
You know, but there is a well, we do that
just
though.
talk shit. Hey.
Well, here we are again.
Well, the truth is stranger than fiction.
Stranger than fiction.
Shay, could you share a story with our listeners about what happened to us last Monday night? Sitting outside the cigar lounge, enjoying each other's conversation.
We finished recording the podcast.
Uh-huh.
We slipped around the corner to a cigar bar.
Right.
/ whiskey bar. I'm not sure what it is. Shout out Sip, downtown Huntsville.
Downtown Huntsville. Yep.
We sat on the patio.
Yeah, outside. Yeah.
Chair and table outside,
Yeah, outside
kind of
the
on the
bar.
sidewalk, whatever. It's where you're supposed to sit. We were doing what we were supposed to do, having our cigar, enjoying a sip of, a little adult libation, as it were.
Yep.
Adult libation.
Libations.
Kevin the Boss Man excused himself for a moment to go inside to the restroom.
Mm-hmm.
Right on his heels, guy comes out. We notice him, but he's not our business, right? He comes out, he turns down the sidewalk, walks right by us. We didn't acknowledge him. He didn't acknowledge us.
Yep.
He got probably 20
10,
feet.
15, 20.
Okay.
Yeah, it could have been 15, 20.
Yeah, it was late, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Between 10 and 20 feet.
Right.
He turns around. He turns around and looks at both of us. We're the only ones on the street, right?
Yep.
We're sitting there waiting for the boss man to come out of the restroom. The restroom. He turns and looks at us. He raises his hands and flaps them almost like he's doing the chicken dance.
Right.
But in front of him.
Correct.
Flaps his hands at the wrist, and he says, and I quote, "Fuck bitches, save money."
Make money.
Make money.
Make money.
Fuck bitches, make money.
Yep. Twice.
We looked at one another, and I asked you, what did he say? And he repeated himself again while looking at us, and again flapped his hands like he was doing the chicken dance in front of
Bitches
him.
make money.
And with that, he turned around and disappeared around the corner.
It
We've never seen
disappeared.
him.
Never seen him again.
I don't. Here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin went inside just as this guy was coming out. I mean, just as.
Yep.
Kevin swears he didn't see him. We saw the timing of it from the street, and it's almost impossible for them not to have crossed paths. Even if the guy was in the cigar bar part of it, it was so fast. It's hard to believe they didn't cross paths.
Right.
So here's my question. Did we see him?
Hey.
Was there
perception is reality? I saw him. You saw
him. We've been cracking up about it.
No one else seen him
No one else saw him.
but us.
So
And
was
I
there
think-
a glitch in the matrix?
I think this is one of those situations where the truth is stranger than fiction.
truth
Right?
is
You
stranger
can't make
than
this
fiction.
shit up. The dude, we just
How-
mind our business.
Talking to no one, low amongst us. Weren't not intoxicated.
Nope.
No way, no how. We'd had one drink each, and we'd been sipping it for like an hour and a half.
Yep. And we babysit it.
They
Yep.
were big drinks, though, weren't they?
Yeah,
I
we
like big drinks, and I do. Okay,
Uh-huh,
sorry.
uh-huh.
Yeah, I wonder if it was a dimensional shift, maybe a tear in time,
A time dilution.
Who knows what may have
Who
happened?
knows?
If it weren't for Kevin having gone in at that same moment,
Would it have happened?
and sure that he didn't see him, we wouldn't have thought anything of it. But the fact that he had to have seen him and he didn't, who knows? What if Kevin hadn't gone in at that moment? Would it have never happened?
I think it was all fate.
Maybe the door to Sip in downtown Huntsville is actually a portal to another dimension,
Could be.
in another place, in another time. It's funny because things can be two different things.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about when I was mowing the yard today. I mowed
Okay.
my backyard. It just needed some sprucing up.
Right.
My front yard I didn't mow. Everybody always wonders, like, why do I take care of the back of my house a whole lot better than the front of my house? Because I don't go in the front of my house, and I don't care what you
You
think
got a
about
big
it.
ass tree up there too.
I got two of them. Yeah,
Two
yeah,
big-
yeah. Two
big
big
ass
trees.
trees.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
keep
yeah.
the leaves blown and stuff. You know, like it's not raggedy, but, I never did finish painting the house either. Anyways, I forgot what I was going to say. I was mowing the grass, and I was thinking how two statements that seem like they're complete opposite could be both true. It was a mental exercise for myself in reminding myself that just because I believe something and am firmly convinced of it, maybe it's only true for me. When I was a young child, I remember snippets of watching my father and some other person changing a tire on a car. And the wheel was off the car, and I'd watch the man, move it over to the side or whatever. And I told my mother something about I wanted to go pick it up or whatever, and she told me, no, that tire is really, really heavy, and you wouldn't be able to pick it up. I was a little boy. I wouldn't have been able to pick it up. You know what I'm saying? It would have been too big for me. That was a true statement. A tire is too heavy for you to pick up. But if you said that to me now, it'd be a ridiculous statement. Of course I can pick up a tire. So two complete opposite things can be true depending on time, depending on space, circumstance,
where you at in life,
or depending on where you're at in life and one's own personal growth. And I think it's important. I don't know. It was a profound thought for me. Maybe I just had, cutting the grass for the last time of the year fever, but everything you believe is not always true the same way it always was. And if it always is true the same way it always was, then you probably haven't grown either. If everything you knew to be true when you were in your 20s was true to you now, well, then I still wouldn't be able to pick up a tire.
Correct.
I don't know why I went that deep real quick, but it's something I was thinking about today, and now I've spurted it out. Welcome to Vendor Chronicles.
Hey,
well, look, we talk about
you got me thinking. I'm sitting here damn thinking like I don't even know what to say with that.
I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm like, damn.
People sometimes ask, what do we talk about? And I'm like, you wouldn't even believe the stuff we talk about.
Right.
We don't even know what
I think that's a
about.
part of growth, though, what you just said. It's growth. And say if you were stuck in that same situation or had those same ideas and that same mindset or same beliefs.
Right.
Are you really growing? If you haven't changed much.
If you believe the same things you believed when you were 20.
At 40, 50.
At 40, 50.
60.
Or maybe you just haven't done anything in your life. We all know that person that went to work at a job that was, boring, meaningless, had no, just a, I don't want to name a job because, I don't want, everybody does their thing. But, you go into something that doesn't stimulate your mind at all. And they do it for 30 years because it's good money and they come away with a pension, but then they're just boring people. And they die 10 years later because they didn't have anything else to do. All they knew how to do was that one repetitive thing that they did that got them through. Thing.
I think you can look at that two ways, though. Like,
okay.
And I want our listeners to know we're not knocking a 9 to 5.
No.
If I got to go get 9 to 5, I go get 9 to 5 today if I have to.
It
would suck. It will suck.
But I do whatever to feed my family.
Correct.
Yeah,
I would dread it, but I would definitely go do that.
Absolutely.
I kind of look at 9 to 5 people like it's one of those things where I consider them pretty strong. You know what I'm saying? Like
could be.
Like how mentally strong you have to be to get up and do that repetitive task every day.
Especially if you stay vital and, keep your mind, what's the word? I'm not trying to say. Especially if you stay active, mentally and physically.
Correct. But you get what I'm saying? Like I consider those people like, man, you tougher than me because I can't do it.
I couldn't do it. No.
Not for 20 years.
No.
No. Season's coming to an end. If I got to step my foot back in the workplace, to make a few dollars, to get by until March, April.
Sure.
Well, hey, that's just what I have to do.
Got to do what we got to do.
But I got to light at the end of the tunnel.
Got it. And it's a means to an end.
A means to an end. Not this is what I feel to be doing the next 10, 15, 20 years.
Right. Because 10, 15, 20 means the rest of your life.
Shout out my 9 to 5ers, man.
Shout out 9 to 5ers.
Hey, you buy Hero.
Was that Kid Rock said?
You keep this country moving.
With a wife and kids at home and a job somewhere on some assembly line, I wish I had that life. I bet you wish you had mine. That's a Kid Rock line.
I bet you wish you had mine.
You think about from the mindset of a rock star. That was back when he was when Kid Rock was still, he was still selling out concerts and what have
So
you.
you talking making millions?
Oh, for
He'll
sure.
make
He's-
easily enough for him to make $1 million in 1 week.
He's probably still making millions now just on residuals.
Mhm,
But, you know, somebody at that level. You know, he built a White House, like a replica of the White House. That's what he lives in.
Oh man,
Up in Tennessee. I heard Rogan and Theo Vaughn and them talking about it like it's
built the White
it's
House.
like a
a legit replica,
yeah, I guess.
like the damn
Rogan said it was the baddest house
It's in
he'd ever
Tennessee?
been into. Yeah, he lives up there somewhere around Nashville.
They
Yeah.
got a lot of replicas in Tennessee.
And the thing is, you know how what is it? Tom Brokaw is doing a lot of interviews with rock stars. Is it Tom Brokaw, one of those old news
I
guys?
don't say Tom Brokaw's got to be 80 years old.
Well, maybe not him. I don't know who it is. But anyways, there's one of those serious news guys, whatever his name was. And now he's doing a lot of, like, he's interviewed Paul Stanley with Kiss,
Mm-hmm.
and just a lot of, you know, real famous rock stars. And he interviewed Kid Rock, and it was in a double wide trailer. And that's where Kid Rock, he said he lived there. Like, he presented himself as, I'm just living in this trailer. He had a couple of, he had a couple of overweight white girls in real tight shorts kind of running around the house a little bit.
So
you know?
he was trolling doing the interview.
I think
You
so, man,
He was
because
like trolling.
It
Doing the
really
interview.
looked like he was, you know, living in a trailer park, and there was a barn out back, and he
I'm
had
just a dirty white boy.
there was a
What
jet
song was that?
airplane.
Who sung that one?
dirty white boy. That
Just
was
a dirty white
was
boy.
that Foreigner?
Was it Foreigner? I don't know, man. That's just what came to my mind. You
I'm
think Kid
alone,
Rock?
but I'm never alone. Oh man, I remember that.
Yeah.
I'm a dirty white boy.
I'm a dirty white boy.
How did you feel about that song when you were a kid?
Hey,
You sing it anyways?
I'm a dirty
Yeah,
white
yeah,
boy.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
okay, you dirty white
I'm
boy.
sure you knew some dirty white boys, so there you go, you know.
I know some dirty black boys too. Shit, I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah. Anyways, I guess he was trolling the interviewer.
Trolling the interviewer.
The thing was, he had his jet airplane in a barn outside, and I remember watching the interview, and he was like, you know, he really was kind of acting like a redneck, like, yeah, no matter what, man, I got me an airplane out there, I might can't fly it, you know, whatever. And the whole time he was building like a miniature White House, and he was just acting like he was gonna,
This
live
is
in a
my
trailer
life.
park. It's
Right.
hilarious, man. Yeah,
Kid Rock's a
Yeah.
character, man.
you know, he shot that case of Bud Light over the.
They got
Oh.
him. They got him canceled for a minute, didn't it? Or
No,
he
no,
got some
he
heat.
didn't
He
care.
got some heat about it,
He
didn't he?
was talking to Bud Light the whole time. They knew about it. It was a joke. He was just screwing around.
Trolling,
Yeah, just messing around, just trolling.
doing Kid Rock shit.
They offered him a commercial, and in the end, he said he didn't want to do it. But I mean, it was you know, he was just trolling,
Doing Kid Rock
just
shit.
laughing, just doing something stupid, putting it out there, and then sitting back and watching people lose their minds.
Who
I
was
think
it?
that's how he gets his kicks.
Joe Rogan talked about how he was living in like a shitty apartment before he got his break.
To my Rogan was
Rogan was.
Okay.
And how like, you know, living in this shitty apartment, you know, he was still happy to come home to it. You know, like say, you
Yeah.
know, had a long day on the road or whatever, on tour, doing whatever Joe Rogan does. And he gets to that apartment and it's just like, oh man, you can let your hair down, you know, relax. And then once he really caught his first break, he got like this penthouse in LA, Hollywood.
yeah,
And he said after about a year goes by, he has that same feeling about that penthouse that he did about that shitty
it's
apartment.
just where you come home to. Yeah,
It's just where you come home to. Perspective.
I have been everything from living in my car
Mm-hmm.
to my wife and I both making six figures. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We're real close to it. And, you know, you eat better, you know, but life isn't any real better. You know, living in your car sucks. But I've lived in some
Right.
crappy little apartments that, hey, they were home to me.
They were home.
It was fine.
At the end of the day, they were
You
still
know,
home.
I could sit down, have a cold beer, watch a little TV,
Mhm.
go to sleep in peace, and get up the next morning and do it. You know, you know, it's just a matter of measures.
Correct.
And I've never been interested in chasing that whole beating the neighbors out or, you know, look at what I got.
The Joneses.
Yeah, keeping up with the Joneses.
Keeping up
There
with,
you go.
you know, I learned where that came from when I went to Savannah.
Really?
They got a Jones Street in Savannah. So have you ever been?
To Savannah? Briefly,
Yeah.
but yeah.
So in Savannah, they got a lot of squares.
Right.
Like almost like how our square is, except they're connected,
Yeah,
you
it
know,
was a
and like
planned city.
between them is like parks and stuff
Mhm.
like that, you know, or square center, you know, the centers or whatever.
The centers of the squares. A long
centers
time ago,
of the squares.
That's where they would stable their horses.
Okay.
People that are coming into town would stable their
Right.
horses. That's why they're built like that. Columbus, Georgia is a lot like that. But anyways.
Okay, so they have a Jones Street, and that's where all the nicer homes were. So like when people go out and get something, you know, that didn't live on Jones Street or that did live on Jones Street, they'd be like, "Oh, you trying to keep up with the Joneses?"
Keeping up with the Joneses.
Because
Came
that's the
from
name. That was the
Savannah.
name of that street,
That's
Jones
fantastic.
Street.
Jones Street.
Keeping up with the Joneses.
I wonder if that is what spawned, like if you got a Jones for something,
I'm jonesing.
I'm jonesing for some fried chicken or whatever.
Jonesins.
I wonder if that came from
I ain't said that in a long time. I got the Joneses.
I say it sometimes. I've been trying to bring back old words. You know what I've been bringing back? You probably noticed it. Word.
Word
was a good word back in the 80s when you said word. Word, man.
Like for real?
It was for anything.
Word.
Or it could be, I agree, word. We're going to meet at the coffee shop at 6, word.
Word.
I remember making fun of it.
Kids don't talk like that no more.
I've been saying it though, man.
You hear some of the shit kids say, like they be having to tell me, like, what? I'm like, what does that mean?
I don't know a lot of that stuff.
No, I think the latest one I learned was cap. You capping.
I've heard that, but I don't know what it means. No,
it means basically you fraudulent, you lying about something. Like, oh man, I got $1 million in the bank. Oh, that's cap.
I've heard no cap. Like
no cap meaning you tell them to.
I can hit a baseball every time. No cap. I'm not lying. Okay,
I'm not lying.
That's what that means.
But if you are cap,
okay,
you lying.
Wonder where that came from.
Shit, I couldn't tell you, Shane.
What's the etymology of that particular?
Etymology.
Oh
man, Shane.
All right, Bugs is entomology. The origin of words and phrases is etymology. Get it right. I listened to a podcast called Away with Words, and they talk about no cap, man. I studied it.
No cap.
You're not saying I'm sus, are you?
Nah. Oh, you sus.
Nah, I'm not sus, man. I'm straight up.
Oh man.
Word to your mother.
They say mid now.
Mid?
Like it's okay. So like if you had.
So like in the middle.
Yeah,
mid.
The Wendy's meal? Like
mid.
Oh, it was mid.
Oh, that's all right.
That's a new one to me. I never heard
it either, but I'm cool with that.
They use it a lot for albums. Like how was the Drake album?
It was mid.
It was mid.
I listened to 2 songs and
so it won bronze, it won silver,
that makes
or it
sense,
won gold. It was silver. It was mid.
Yeah, it was mid.
Mid.
I just heard that like a month ago.
Huh.
Yeah.
I used to, when I was working in the restaurants, I was kind of up on the slang because I worked with kids, it'd be 16 to 20-year-olds, a lot of them, they'd come in after school and work their little shift or whatever, and I'd hear their slang, but it's been a while now, so.
So it's hard to keep up now. I got
it was hard to keep up then.
Almost 2 teenagers that's on TikTok all day, so they might say something, I'll be like, huh? Explain, say more,
Wow.
How do you feel about the statement of the more things change, the more they stay the same?
Once you start recognizing patterns, not much change.
And you done been around a few decades.
It's, we think that things change a lot, I think, because we're so close to them. It's just like the recent election. I'm not going to, I might end up telling my opinion because, hell, it's our show, right? We can say whatever we want to.
Hey.
But if you just think about
let it flow, Shay.
The most recent election, I've seen a bunch of elections now.
Yeah,
and
you done lived through some elections.
I've seen a number of them that were going to be just, when Bill Clinton got elected, I think we've talked about this a little bit on the podcast, but, it was going to be the end of the world. I was living in a very conservative, I would say certainly right-wing conservative, let's leave it at that. We didn't carry signs in front of soldiers' funerals, but we were close to that probably. And Bill Clinton was going to be, he was the devil himself. The devil himself.
He wasn't an antichrist. He was the devil.
Just, he was going to ruin the whole world.
Uh-huh.
Looking back, he was a pretty darn good president. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've talked about this on the podcast. Look back at, who was the, I am not a crook, resigned in office, Watergate.
Nixon.
Thank you, Richard Nixon. It's going to be the end of the country. The country was set up so no one presidency, regime, person, it would be impossible for a person to, or even a party to own the country. It's set up to be flip-flopped.
Doing like the Nixon and Reagan eras, or like when they say make America great again, that's the era they're talking about. When it comes to like just wealth distribution. Wealth was distributed fairly equally amongst the people as opposed to now.
I think that's probably true, but I don't know if politics are the answer. And I think a lot of people would say that the Reagan-Nixon era, especially the Reagan era, I could argue at both sides, but, trickle-down economics, a lot of people say that's what started the corporate the huge corporate conglomerates that we see today that are, I think we all agree
Like,
probably
we could
should
say
be reined in.
10% owns 90% of the wealth.
Exactly.
And the other 90 only has 10% to
has
play
only
with.
10% of all the rest to play with. And a lot of people would blame Reagan's trickle down economics for that, and I think there's a point to be made for that. Like, I'm not an economist. Now I can't say it. Economist. There we go.
Economist.
But I think there's probably something to be said for that. But at the same time, we did see a medium length time of fairly good prosperity. The 80s were.
I didn't live. I was born during that time. I wasn't an adult.
Yeah.
Even like during Clinton. I can't remember Clinton's presidency because I was only 10 years old. When Clinton was in office.
Clinton was when I was old enough to vote, of course, and so it meant something more to me then. And that was the first time I really was paying close attention to it as an adult.
And I could care less back then.
Yeah. But, supposedly it was going to be the end of the world. And, he got a blowjob in the Oval Office. Okay, well, guess what?
That's what I knew.
did, too. JFK most definitely did.
Marilyn Monroe.
Marilyn Monroe in the Oval Office. They say
there was,
baddest
bee in town.
Who knows? And so, to get, circling back to your point,
Marilyn
I think
Monroe,
she was...
Hey, I ain't mad at you, JFK. Shout out JFK, man.
Shout out JFK.
Hey, man,
did a lot of good things for the country.
Yeah, he did. Dude, he
And
got his
Marilyn
head
Monroe-
blown off on the grassy lawn or whatever. They damn Marine Corps sniper, man, took his head off.
Have you ever seen that Rihanna video called "Man Down"? Rihanna did a song called "Man Down," and she did a video of it. And in the video, they shot it at exactly the same place where JFK was shot.
The grassy lawn. What they
She
call
was
it?
in the street. She was walking down. She was dancing or walking down the street exactly where his car was. And at whatever certain point in the song, she got to the place where he actually was, and she pantomimed being shot in the head and fell down in the street right there. It's a pretty wild video.
I'm about to go look that
It's called
video up.
"Man Down" by Rihanna.
Wow.
Look at that.
Why was she? Why,
Old
I mean,
man
what
bringing
was
in
what was
some-
what was the
pay a
point
little
of the
attention.
video though? Was she?
I think she
mean,
was.
She protesting something? Like, what
it
was
wasn't
the,
a protestation
what was the message
necessarily of
behind it?
JFK, but I think it was a protest of how we kill progressive leaders that try to help regular people. I think JFK was widely considered somebody who was going to help
The black community,
with everybody in general,
civil
including
rights.
the black.
He was on
he was
board
a
with
big
civil rights. Me with
rights
MLK.
supporter.
Yeah, big
And,
civil rights supporter.
He was a friend of MLK.
MLK, yeah.
And I think he was. I think he really cared about like regular working people and
Correct.
and people of color were in his mind the same as anybody else. That's what I think. I'm only 53. That was a little bit before my time, but he tried his best. It seems like
Right.
to do the right thing when he could, and we shot him down. And I think that song is more about why do we kill the ones that are really trying to bring true love and
Oh, yeah, we
some
can't-
kind
we
of
can't have
equality
that.
to the world. We can't
Yeah.
have that for sure. We
Oh,
got to
no.
be fighting.
No,
And people
no,
that try
no.
to break down, especially the racial
Go
barriers.
against the system.
When that first, I imagine the powers that be loved the post-Civil War America where there was labor that could be had for half the money. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there was a lot of discrimination that went on that was good for corporations, and you get people that come in that want to change that and make things truly equal. And,
Oh man.
there's a grassy knoll waiting for you.
The grassy knoll. That's
is,
the word. Yeah, I said grassy lawn.
It's a good song, though. Look it up and then tell me next week if you
Man
think I'm right
Down?
on the Man Down. Yeah,
Man
yeah.
Down.
Yeah, I'm not going to sing it because it's Rihanna, man. I can't.
Yeah.
I fell in love with Rihanna's music in South Beach. One year while Jessica and I were down there was one of her songs that was brand new. And when you're in South Beach, every shop has their doors open and they're playing something loud. It's always a Latin beat. There's always a, like you
And
just
she's
want to dance
from
going down the
Brazil.
street.
I'm
not sure.
Trinidad. One of those. I think Brazil. Guyana.
Guyana. I've known a bunch of people from Guyana that
That was where Dylan's mom's from, right?
Dylan's mom is from Guyana.
From
That's
Guyana.
right. I used to work with a dude from Guyana.
Okay.
Not to be confused with French Guyana. This Guyana is in South America. French Guyana is in Africa. But the Guyana that Rihanna
South America.
and
Guyana.
Dilla's mom, that's South America Guyana. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got that right. I'm 90% sure.
Yeah, you sound right.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Well, I mean, you can sound right though.
I co-sign. You said it with confidence. Say it with your chest.
What was it?
Say it with your chest.
Did you ever hear that
It's
George
all right.
Carlin bit about that? Oh, he seems intelligent, well educated, informed, up. He's full of shit.
Yep.
Like, if you say anything with confidence, you know.
Hey, say it with your chest. Say it with confidence.
Like what's Rob Dyrdek on ridiculousness?
Mm-hmm.
He says some stupid. You know, he'll pull out a statistic he just made it up. You know, 93% of all statistics are made up by the establishment, but he says it with like he means it.
Yep.
And Steve O'Brien will be looking at him like,
that's a bullshit.
Wait, did you make that up? No, that's not right. That's the modern version.
I like
of,
Rihanna though. She ain't bad to look at either.
For sure. Yeah. Well, and then
Very
Chris Brown beat her ass.
Young lady. Yeah. Chris
she
Brown whooped a lot of ass.
She got the sympathy. You know, she got a lot of people's sympathy because there was pictures of her with her face beat in. You know, he whooped her ass pretty good.
I wonder what she did to him.
Makes you wonder what she did.
But I think they say Chris Brown.
She went back to him.
A violent guy. You know?
But she went back to him after that.
Hey, you get what you deserve. Then I mean,
you know, at that point in time,
go back to
it makes you wonder. Yeah.
I don't support violence, especially violence upon women.
It might have been "Love the Way You Lie" with Eminem.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We were in South Beach that year when that whatever song it was a Rihanna song. It might have been "Love the Way You Lie." It might have been. I have to think about it. It was a big one. Mm-hmm. It was blasting from every shop that you'd come out of. It was the
what year?
song.
What year are we talking?
Oh,
you talk this young Rihanna?
Yeah, whenever. What? I don't know, but at least 10 years
15,
ago.
10, 15
at least
years
10
ago,
years
maybe?
ago. Between 10 and 15, I would say, yeah. Because we used to spend our anniversary every year in South Beach, and we still would if we, we've kind of got our 2010.
Oh, wow, 14, 15 years ago.
So that's probably right. Yeah, that's probably right.
Wow.
But I just remember it was such a great. Her voice on that song was so powerful to me, and then once I really started listening and hearing the lyrics to it, and it's a real powerful description of a tumultuous relationship. I don't know. It spoke to me. I like a lot of Rihanna stuff.
It's the love the way you lie one.
Love the Way You Lie. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, that was a good one. And I like Eminem.
Mm-hmm.
That may be cliche, but I like the old Eminem a whole lot better than some of the new stuff he's doing is a little bit repetitive. And it's like he's my age.
I like that Abracadabra one. I think we kind of talked about that.
I like it. Houdini. He sampled his own self. Who but Eminem can sample their own?
Yourself.
There's only a few people that could. Jay-Z probably could, and a few. But you know what I miss, man?
What's that?
Oh, it's before you. I miss old school rap. Like for real old school rap. We've talked about Rapper's Delight, okay? But then during the 80s, there were some bands. There was a band called Houdini. You've heard of Houdini, of course. Houdini was the shit, man. Houdini was the shit. And everything they did was happy and fun. Like I could probably do 5 minutes of funk. I could probably do 70% of it right now. Just bust it out. Like the old lady doing the, you know what I'm saying? That was, everybody played that. Everybody played that. You ever heard of UTFO?
Never.
You big dummies don't belong on the dance floor if you don't know what UTFO stands for. Unidentified. What is it? Untouchable Force Organization. May I continue? Yes, you may. It was bad, man. UTFO, they were bad, man. Yeah.
Wow.
And then you had Dougie Fresh.
Yeah, I know Dougie Fresh.
Rapping with
Slick Rick.
Yeah.
Slick Rick.
Digital
Would you tell us a
Underground.
bedtime story?
Man, that
Please?
was, the Fat Boys.
All right.
Back in the day, early Run DMC.
Here we go.
Here's something. Run DMC song, Walk This Way.
This way.
Let's see. It was Run DMC and Aerosmith.
Way. Yeah.
It was the first time that a rock and roll group and a rap group performed together like at a major thing. It was at the Grammys or whatever it was.
Oh, man.
And they were throwing the microphone back and forth between each other. And Steven Tyler, he's always been a cool dude anyways. And they were just, it was great, It was, who else was it? Man, there was so many.
Down memory lane.
Yeah, it was. That was rap music was fun then. And it was new, and I was playing basketball then too. So I was kind of around that culture a lot, the R&B culture, as it were. And it was just something everybody could sing and listen to and have fun. And then all of a sudden,
hold on, you said you was around that music, that culture, so you was playing basketball with a lot of black people.
It was a good mixed culture. There you go. See, now you're messing me up. Now,
I know what I'm saying. You
I
said
didn't
you
say
was
you
around
people
that.
or anything, man. I'm saying I was around a lot
that's
of black
our
people.
music.
Okay, there you go.
R&B,
I was around
you
a lot
know.
of. I was around a lot of black people. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I was playing basketball. It was,
Hey.
even in the South,
Okay.
you can't deny black folks playing basketball.
playing basketball.
Otherwise,
I mean,
you are going to lose.
You watch an NBA game now.
Look, I was a lot of times the token white boy. Okay,
right.
so
you ever seen that? How Larry Bird used to talk junk? Like he'll get upset if they put a white guy on him.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
Like,
you putting a white guy on me, coach?
Like he felt disrespected.
Yeah,
like you put a white guy on me.
Yep.
Yep. He said,
Larry
"Where the brothers at?"
He was, when you saw him play just from the TV or whatever. You didn't see all that stuff. He just looked like a machine. But
they say he was a big trash talker.
Yeah,
they say Larry Bird could talk some trash.
I've heard some of those stories. I love listening to those. Charles Barkley.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Bad.
But old rap music, man. Shout out old rap music.
Shout out the oldies,
the original,
the OGs,
the OGs, man. LL Cool J.
LL Cool J.
He's
standing the test of time.
He has stood for sure.
Even
if you go back to
test of time.
Ice-T, and even when rap first started going gangster, and you had Ice-T and
NWA.
NWA was those are some bad boys.
Yeah,
those are some bad boys in more ways than one.
Eazy-E.
But who paid tribute to NWA's talent was the legendary drummer and lyricist for Rush, Neil Peart. On one of his tours, he wore an NWA hat. And here's an intro. I can't remember if I told this story.
I think you did tell me.
I probably did.
I don't know if you told on the podcast.
I went to see him.
You told me.
I went to see him in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and at a college there, Middle Tennessee State University. This would have been in like '95, probably. And they wouldn't let him wear his NWA hat because NWA stands for, tell us, Q.
Negroes with an attitude.
There you go. And so the college wouldn't let him have that hat on. And so he turned his hat inside out and still wore the same hat, but inside out. But he said the reason why he wore the hat was to pay tribute to people who were musically inclined and didn't grow up in a situation where there was money to be able to buy instruments. And so they made music however they could. And that's how kind of rap music came. At least that was his explanation,
right.
Which I'm like, okay. He was big into different types of, he loved everything from jazz to, like he did a tour in Africa one time specifically so he could learn African drum beats.
Okay.
And then he would incorporate that into, what he was doing. It was, Neil Peart was a hell of a drummer.
Mm-hmm.
Hell of a drummer.
Agreed.
But anyways, what were we talking about?
Hey, we kind of just been going down the rabbit hole.
Down the rabbit hole.
Like Alice in Wonderland.
How's your week been, man? We hadn't even
when you go in the rabbit hole, it's big. It gets smaller and smaller, narrow. We going to be midgets by the time we done with this podcast. We got to get out this hole.
We can join the wrestling circuit.
Right. Yeah, we in the rabbit hole right now. We just taking the listeners for a ride. That's it.
I hope you're having a good time.
Hey,
we are.
I know
without doubt. What's your week been like, man?
Week was good.
Middle of November.
Mid-November, just had our last holiday market at Mid-City.
Yep. That's always bittersweet.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Sales were down.
Sales were down for us.
Sales were down. To the tune almost $1,000 from last year.
That's a big cut.
So I think that's just a kind of a picture of what the economy's doing.
Sure.
Like we talked about how groceries are so expensive and how everything else so expensive. So do I really need that bag of popcorn?
Yep.
I want to get out. It's cheap fun to get out, walk around, but people are a little bit more tight with their wallets,
It's a Sunday, and let's say you got $200 to spend today, and you got to go to the grocery store, and you got to buy lunch for your family.
And get some gas.
That $200 is gone.
Correct.
You go to the grocery store and come out with one bag, and it's $50 a bag. They might as well just put a sign, $50 a bag. It's crazy what it costs. And so when they get to the festival, there's less money to go around.
Correct. And I saw that yesterday.
Sure.
I saw it. And
seen that all year.
like Christmas right around the corner.
Yep.
Like, oh man,
Yep. That part helps me.
Because you got the toys.
Gifts.
Right,
Yep.
right.
Yep.
That is true.
This is the time of the year when it transitions. Like your popcorn is probably still a good seller in the summertime. If you can find a festival to go to, I imagine people still want good kettle corn.
Correct.
Whereas a wooden toy in July is a hard sell. You might buy your kid something to placate him for the day, but you're not going to buy a $100 train set or whatever. But this is the time of the year where they transition, and people will spend a little extra coin because they're putting it away for Christmas, and so that that helps us a lot.
Right.
If it weren't for the last 3 months of the year, I would have been done had a 9 to 5 or something else. We'll see.
Wow.
Hey, speaking of that, if you're listening out there, all 5 of you, 10 of you, 5,000, however many people are listening to this episode, and it's a damn good show, by the way. Damn good show.
Shout out to Hodge Twins.
Shout out to Hodge Twins.
Give credit where credit is due. Yeah, give credit where credit is due.
Come of that. But listen, do me a favor right quick. Put a comment down below and like hit a like on there. I hate it when you're watching a YouTube video and they're like, don't forget to like and subscribe and click the bell so you'll get a notification. Look, just do something. Interact with the page in some way, whatever. It helps us a whole lot, and we're trying to build this from the 3 of us as hobby to something that maybe can, help us to feed our families. If you've met us out there, then we're working hard to feed kids. All of us are, and it doesn't cost you anything. So leave us a comment. Look, good, bad, or whatever it is, just spell our names right.
Yep.
I'm Shane, and he's Q, and you could just leave a comment, please. Anyways,
I was thinking the same thing though with that. What you just said, like, hey. Talking to the listener, hey, leave us a comment.
Please leave us a comment.
Hit the like button. I don't know. Do whatever.
And leave us a for real comment about
something
you want us to talk about. I mean, if it's an intriguing subject and we're reading it, if you read comments, maybe we'll read them on the air. If you leave one,
if you leave one, if there's something you want us to touch on,
Susie Q from down the road says we should talk about
whatever.
What type of sneakers we wear. What are you talking about? Sneakers? I wear Chucks most of the time. Pretty much 90% of the time I wear a pair of Chucks.
I'm in boots more than likely.
You got some nice shoes.
75% of the time I'm in boots. You see me here in tennis shoes.
Right.
I typically wear.
I see you in boots a lot.
Boots.
That's for sure.
I wear boots a lot.
I used to wear boots a lot when I rode motorcycles.
But I do got some shoes, Shane.
You got some nice shoes.
Because mostly I'm wearing boots so my shoes stay nice.
So they stay nice. That's a good,
I wear by shit kickers.
Shit kickers.
You ever heard them called that? You got your shit kickers on today. I be in my shit kickers more than likely,
That's a boot you can clean easy too, by the way.
My shit kickers. Yep.
Worn a pair of those myself a time or two.
Yep. I'll pay money for a good pair of boots.
Oh, for sure.
I like to buy cheap shoes. I could spend $30, $40, $50 on some shoes, but I'll pay $200 for a pair of nice boots.
Oh, for sure.
Because I know I'm gonna wear them
for a long time.
Daily.
And a pair of boots is not just something to put on your feet. You need something that's going to protect
you. It's a utility tool.
It really is a utility tool. And when you're on your feet a lot, you know the value of a good pair of boots.
You really do.
For sure.
You really do.
For sure.
That's why I tell anybody, invest in your feet.
When I was in the restaurant business, I rode motorcycle to work every day, and I always had good, solid boots.
A good quality.
I never bought motorcycle boots either because I would wear them all day, and I'd put a Dr. Scholl's or something in them. But Red Wing makes some good, solid steel toe leather boots that you could, and you could get them with a restaurant grade non-slip tread on the bottom.
Type
you had to order them, but so instead of just and that's good when you're riding a motorcycle because the only time you really need it's when you're stopped. You don't want to put your foot down in something.
How did they hold up to the grease and stuff?
Fantastic
in the restaurant business.
Yeah, real leather, and take care of them. You got to wash them, but use a little saddle soap to get the grease off of them and just keep them clean regularly. But a lot of what happens in the restaurant is oil and grease, like you said, which is not really bad for leather. When you think about it, it's kind of constantly conditioning, so the boot stayed in pretty good shape.
Right.
The key is to get good soles.
Wow.
If you got good soles, you can't hardly get a pair of boots resoled anymore.
Who? I know. I used the guy right here in Huntsville. What road is that?
Used to be a
he
guy.
He was off of Bob Wallace in Triana. Bob Wallace in Triana.
Yeah.
It's like a CVS right there. He was across the street from that CVS.
Is he still there?
It's a shoe store. I used him like a year ago. I had to get I bought a pair of snake skins.
Nice.
I got a pair of pythons.
Oh, nice.
And they had the rubber grip on the heel.
Okay.
But on the toe it was like just slick.
Okay. Yeah,
so they was real slippery unless I put my heel down.
Okay.
So I was like, man, I want to get the rubber grip put on the damn toe as well. So I Googled, boot stores in Huntsville, Alabama. He popped up. But when I went in there, shoes everywhere.
Right.
And the place really kind of looked a mess, And so I went up to the counter. I was like, yeah, I want to get, some rubber on my heel, because they too slick for me, when I wear them out. And she looked at me. She was like, yeah, it'd be about 30 days.
30 days.
30 days. That's how booked up he was.
Seems like somebody
just to glue a damn rubber sold to my book.
All right. So we've all sat around and talked about what could we, what's another hustle we could do.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to me like there's a market for a good cobbler.
Yeah, cobbler.
For a good cobbler, somebody that knows their business.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's something that might take years to really learn how to do well. I don't know that that's a...
Yeah, he was an older guy.
Yeah.
Because I think it was his daughter working the counter for him. And
somebody
she was
out there,
older than me. So
somebody
he had to
out
be an
there
older guy
is
doing
going to
it.
have a love for leather and things like that. People still have nice shoes no matter, you can go buy really nice shoes today, and somebody that can work on and fix and resole and do little things like that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, if there's somebody out there that's looking for something to do, that would be an idea.
That might be a good idea.
What if you had a mobile cobbler unit and you could set up different places and fix shoes on the site?
Mm-hmm. Even just cleaning shoes. You see the guys in the mall just cleaning damn shoes.
Honestly, though, it sounds to me like there's enough of a demand where you could have a brick and mortar store and people would come to you. If these people are backed up for 30 days.
30 days. And it took longer than that.
How much would
She told me 30 days, but it took longer than that.
Oh, you did go ahead and have them do the job.
Yeah, I had them do the job. And
how was it?
Oh, they did a great job, but it took forever.
What did it cost?
I think I gave them, it wasn't no more than $100.
Okay.
It probably wasn't even no more than $50 to get him to do that
But
work.
if it was $100, you still feel like it was worth it, right?
Oh, most definitely.
Because it's boots that you're going to wear all the time, and you need them to be the way they need to be.
Right, where they're not so slippery for me.
Yep.
And
if you would, somebody else would.
Mm-hmm.
You can make money doing anything. I saw a Facebook advertisement.
You really can.
They'll come around and clean your garbage cans for you.
I've been seeing that mobile.
Have you been seeing that?
Trailer little thing that cleans down.
I haven't seen the trailer, but
who would pay for that service though? I could just go dump some bleach in a water hose and be, okay, whatever.
You can, and that's what I do.
I think you got to have a lot of disposable income to pay for that.
I clicked on it on Facebook.
Service.
I clicked on it on Facebook, and it was reasonable, and you could pay it like $99 for a year, and they would clean them twice a quarter or something like that. I'm not sure exactly what it was. I don't want to quote it, right? But I remember thinking, okay, you're working a corporate job. You're working 10, 11, 12 hours a day because you're trying to get ahead. You're making six figures and some, maybe 200,000, whatever it is, and you got a house and you got 2 garbage cans or whatever it is. What's $99?
Right.
If you could pay it
in the grand scheme,
it wouldn't even be
with
you wouldn't even miss that $99 on your debit card. It would debit once a year. You'd probably put it on a credit card that's got a $20,000 limit. You would, you just pay the bill on that, and have your revolving card, and then you never have to worry about your garbage being clean or being dirty. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, you live in an HOA where if you've got stinky garbage cans and flies, they'll fine you. Pay $99 once a year. Somebody comes by and cleans it. I could see people. Obviously, they must be because there they are.
I don't even know if I had the money I would pay for that service.
I feel that way too, but no, I don't feel that way. All right, we had a conversation today. If you had $20 million, but what if you had a $250,000 a year income? Mm-hmm. Your health care is paid. You got your 401k. You wouldn't think twice about $99. And a kid pitched it to you. Or
that's a different story.
Or a young man starting a business.
That's a different.
You see what I'm saying?
Right. That's a different story.
And that comes back to now. It's all in the pitch.
Mm-hmm.
It's all in the pitch. I bet I could sell it to you.
No.
I know Kevin could. Kevin could sell it to both of us and get us to tack on something.
Right.
I guarantee you that fact right there. Now.
I'll get you recycling too for an extra 30.
By the time Kevin left, we would have bought a whole nother garbage can just for him to clean
Herbie Kirby.
Yeah, that would have happened for sure.
Do they still call them the Herbie Kirby's?
A what?
A Herbie Kirby.
I don't know what that is.
No, I think Kirby's were a vacuum cleaner.
Vacuum cleaners.
But
Did you used to sell Kirby's? Tell me you did. No? Okay.
I think the Herbie Kirby was like what we called our garbage can, that you put on the curb.
You called it the Herbie Kirby? That's just your
we
family,
call them
man.
the Herbie Kirby's.
Really?
I think that was kind of a Southern thing, Oh man, go put the Herbie Kirby on the curb.
I've never heard that, man. I've lived down here for a while. I think that was a Q's family thing, man. That was one of the family words.
Message us if you ever heard the term Herbie Kirby.
Herbie Kirby. What's a Herbie Kirby? If y'all know about that, yeah.
Please inform Shane on what a Herbie Kirby.
I'm probably just full of it. Herbie Kirby.
But the week's been good, Shay. Like I said, sales were down at our big mid-city holiday market. Which I want to say it was to be expected. With just the way things been trending this year.
Sure.
With sales across the board. We had a baby shower.
I was just about to bring that up.
We had a baby
I was
shower as
there.
well. Yep, Shane.
It was a beautiful affair.
Shane and your beautiful family, y'all showed up.
It
And
was a beautiful
y'all
affair.
came and supported
I got
us.
there late. I was at a show. I got there when I could, man.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Better, I mean,
It was a
better,
beautiful
better
affair, though. It
late
was a
than
lot of
never,
fun.
though. Shane showed up, you know.
It's funny,
I
man,
think
because
we
when I'm
had,
around
we had
your
a good
family,
time.
your family always makes me feel at home.
Really?
Yeah. I always feel good around your family.
You need to get out more, Shane.
That's what I'm doing, man. I thought that's what I was doing by hanging out with you guys. Shit. Are you saying I've set my bar too low?
we good
Nah,
people.
man,
And I
it's
told
always a good-
Shane,
you know,
excuse me. It's always good to have friends in high places. You know,
It's
we
good to have
got
friends
we got
in
to
high
use
places.
Julie and Mike Osborne. They let us use their property for
shout
the
out
event.
Julie and Mike Osborne.
Yes, shout out
Beautiful
Julie.
property.
Very beautiful,
Beautiful
property.
property.
Oh my goodness, unbelievable.
Gorgeous. I didn't think it was a residence.
It's a residence.
It took me a while to really realize this is where these people live. It was just beautifully done.
Yes, it really was.
And you can tell these people had a spirit of hospitality because
Yep.
this was meant to entertain.
Yep.
Meant to entertain.
Well, what would we call that room? A pool house? What would we call that room that we were in? Because it had a bedroom in it, had a 3-car garage attached to it. It had that entertainment area that we had the baby shower in.
I mean, to me, anything from a guest house
a guest house
to a gathering room.
right.
This room was probably 30 by 40. This is a big room.
Oh yes,
30 by. Am I exact? I don't think I'm
with a
exaggerating.
3-car garage on the backside of it.
With a, yeah.
You saw the 3-car garage
Yeah.
that was leading up to it, and then the
And then
pool right out front.
Between this and the main house was a very nice pool
Yes.
with a whole patio area, and they had the whole thing lit up with propane torches all around,
Live fire.
live fire. It was
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. Nothing,
It was
fake.
beautiful. No, it was good.
It was.
Had a huge TV outside. If you would have wanted to sit out there and watch TV, you could have.
Yes.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
And they just did it out the counties of their hearts. Then we offered, do we need to give y'all anything? She said, no, just invite your friends.
Nice to have friends in high places.
Nice to have friends in high places. Shout out Julie and Mike Osborne.
Shout out Julie and Mike Osborne. Thanks for letting
Yep.
us be there.
And it was a good turnout.
And I met both of them, and they were very gracious hosts.
Yes, they really were.
Yep.
They
And it
really
was,
were.
how many people were there? Probably,
20 maybe?
no, there's more than 20.
You think so?
For sure. I brought 3 myself. There was probably 30.
I don't even know. I know 30 people, Shay.
So, guess who I met?
Kobe Davis.
I met Q's little sister,
Kobe Davis.
Kobe Davis.
That's my baby sister.
A lovely young lady, first of all.
Yep.
Much better looking than Q, if I may say so.
I would
But,
agree.
I mean,
she looked just
by,
like my
a
mom.
margin.
She looked just like my mom,
Yep.
except
And
darker,
super sweet.
darker than my mom, but she looked
Super
just like
sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to get her to give me some dirt.
Uh-huh. Kobe grew up with the good me.
Kobe grew up with the good you. Okay.
Because she came around late enough to where I was older, where
How much younger than you is she?
at least 13, 14 years
Okay.
younger. She was way too young for me to pick on and bully.
Okay. By that
No.
time, you were full blown
So
protector.
by the time I'm full blown protector when she came along.
I got that vibe. You could tell she was. She definitely looks up to you.
Yes. And I got the razor.
Which at like
I
5'8", you know,
from like-
it's not,
What? So my mom passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Kobe was 8 or 9
Okay.
when my mom died. And I got custody of Kobe when she was like around 11 or 12.
And you
so
were
she
how
went
old
with
then?
my aunt for a couple years, my mom's sister,
Mm-hmm.
until I got on my feet, and then I ended up getting custody of her. So
How old were you?
she was born in 97, and I got her when she was 12. What would that be? 07
99?
plus 3,
That'd be 2009.
09. 09, I would have been, what is that? I was born in 85. So I got 15 plus 9, so 24
So at 24, you accepted custody of your 11-year-old sister,
of my 11, 12-year-old sister.
and were granted custody by the courts.
Correct. Oh, yeah, like full guardianship. Yeah. Of course, they had to,
That's pretty impressive.
at
For a
24,
24-year-old man, you were married then, right?
yes, been
Okay.
married about 3 years. Got married
So
when
at-
I was 21, 22.
So at 24, not only were you willing to take on the responsibility of your 11-year-old sister,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
the
yeah.
court said, "Oh no, he's perfectly fit." And
Correct. Yep, they gave me guardianship. Of course, they had to extend it to her biological father, which they never got a response from. I think they give them like 30 days to respond. You know,
And he never
when you
even
go through
responded.
that, when you go through that
Okay.
process, you know, because
Sure.
the biological always have priority.
Of course.
So they extended that courtesy to him. I think they gave him like, let's say 30 days. Hey, you respond. If you want her, this is where she's at. You can have her. Didn't get a response. So we ended up getting full custody of her, signing, you know,
Right.
sign on a dotted line, basically. She's yours. So from the time she was 12 to about 17, so she was with me for about 5 or 6 years,
Okay.
you know, when I had her, you know, up until really adulthood, young adulthood,
Sure.
you know, late,
She
getting
seems
into
like
her
she's
late
turned
teens.
out all right.
Yeah.
Seems like she's done
She
okay.
came out all right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I, like I said, I think she really do look up to us. She gave us some headache, you know.
I'm sure.
Being the situation, you know, it's to expect it, you know.
Of course.
I think now she finally realized like what we did for her.
Oh, I would say
She's at that
Just
point
in
to
my,
where like,
yeah, sure.
damn, my brother took me at 24 years old, took responsibility and raised me.
Oh, she seemed very grateful.
You
Yeah.
know, so she's thankful of that. Now, you know, years
She
later,
rode all the way from Georgia
correct
with her family.
Correct.
To come to your baby shower.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
you know, that's that speaks volumes.
Yep. So that's my baby sister,
The
Kobe
many
Davis.
layers of Q the Messenger.
Yeah.
He's a multifaceted, fascinating individual.
I had to grow up fast.
This man walks in here like, I ain't nothing but the comedy relief here.
Yeah, I'm the comedy relief here,
I'm
Shay.
just a redneck country boy. I didn't go to school. Whatever. And then you start finding out more and more about the man. Military veteran,
Yeah.
full guardian of his 11-year-old. At 24? All right, so I had little kids at 24.
Yep.
But if you would ask me, would I have taken responsibility for an 11-year-old? First of all,
11-year-old.
No, I would never have been able to do that.
24. So at the time, it was just her, my son, who would have been about 3. Damn. Yeah. And then Leilani came along a few years after the fact.
Right.
So like Leilani view Kobe as like her sister auntie.
So
that's my sister auntie.
Was Kobe still living with you when Leilani was born?
Yes.
Okay.
Kobe was still with me.
13 now?
12. Yeah, she was still with me when Leilani was born. And then I think when she turned 17, Leilani would have been maybe 1.
Okay.
You know, and that's when Kobe left and went to Iowa. It's a lot more there to unpack.
Of course.
Long story short, we come home one day, she's gone.
Oh, okay.
And in Missouri at the time, if you were 17, you can emancipate yourself.
Just on the fact that you're 17.
You're 17. Don't have to have nobody's permission. You can emancipate yourself.
Okay.
So she got in with this girl who had basically did the same thing that Kobe did. The girl had already done it.
Okay.
And gave Kobe I'm gonna say the game.
Right.
Like, you know, this is what you can do.
This is what you do, and you can, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we come home, her room's cleaned up, pictures missing off the wall, she's gone.
Wow.
We call, no answer, no response. Call the police. They was
no, nothing.
There's nothing we can do. She's 17.
She's 17, yeah, she can.
Nothing we can do.
It's clear that she left on her own volition, otherwise she wouldn't have, you know.
Correct. Is she safe? We think so.
Wow.
You know.
So how long was
so she thought, I think she left because we was giving her structure.
Sure.
You know, at that age, you know.
She was 17.
And then she was getting 17 to the point that we was going to start giving her more leeway, more rope. You know, like, and we had these conversations like, look, okay, this is the plan. This is what we plan on doing. We're going to try to get you a car, you know, this and that. We're going to start giving her way more rope, you know. So to say that we was getting SSI from my mom's death for Kobe.
Okay.
So we was getting like $800 a month.
Which I'm sure you needed every dime of.
Yeah. And she had the whole basement to herself at the time. We lived in a 2-story home basement and an upper level. Mm. You know, she had the basement was hers.
So she really had it made.
She really did have it made. You know,
but she was 17.
Yep, 17.
You can't fault a 17-year-old.
So we go to her and we like, look, we getting X amount of dollars. We gonna try to get you a car here soon, and we gonna start giving you an allowance. You know, for your insurance, for your gas, for you to eat, whatever. You know, we gonna start giving you this money. Yeah, we've been the guardians of it for all this time. Now, I think you're getting old enough to where we can start trying to give you some. You know what I'm saying? Me and Cynthia, we both making good money. We don't need all that money.
Right.
So, and then it seemed like a month later she was gone. She emancipated herself, and then I think that money automatically goes to her.
Okay,
after
that's what I was going to ask. She was able to start getting that
SSI money, as long as she was in school, automatically went to her.
Until she was how old?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I mean, I can ask her. You know.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, but So with that said, her 17-year-old mind thought we were bad parents. So now she's at the point to where she realized, man, they did a lot for me. Like,
and you might have been
ask
a little
yourself,
extra strict.
Would I do that?
But
you know, like you said, would I do that for someone at 24 years old?
Yeah, that's tough.
You know,
that's tough.
So she's finally coming to that reality after having her own kid.
Yeah,
like, man, this is what they did for me.
What's her baby's name? He was adorable.
Oh man, Jace.
Jace, that's right. Yeah,
Jace.
Yeah, he was
and
too
her
cool.
And her boyfriend, fiance, whatever her name is, Alec.
Alec,
real cool guy too.
We met and talked for a little while. Yeah. Hey, they drove all the way from Georgia to come and be part of family.
Drove from Locust Grove.
Locust Grove. That's a good long drive
to come see us. Yeah, they did.
That's fun. Well, we had a good time.
Yeah, we
Madeline was running around like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Enzo didn't want anything to do with her.
I thought it was the other way around. Remember when Enzo was over there trying to give her a hug?
Well, now that's true. Yeah,
he got the cold shoulder.
Yeah.
She gave the legit cold shoulder.
She did. Now she gave him the shove off. Yeah, that's true.
Get away from me, dude.
I've been teaching her right.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah.
Golly. But it was a good time. It was a beautiful venue.
It was.
I mean, we got gifts.
And shout out to lady of the hour, Cynthia Darden.
Yep, Cynthia Darden.
She's already working hard. You can tell.
Yeah, she is.
You can tell that she's there. She's there. Where I'm
so
sure she's sick of it.
we got some good news today. They scheduled the birth.
Really?
For next Monday. So I won't even be here next Monday. Then speaking.
No, we'll have to make some other.
It's scheduled for next Monday.
Well, by the time the listeners hear this will have already happened.
Yep. It's scheduled next Monday.
Next Monday at
1 o'clock. We got to be there at 11. They want us there at 11 because they
1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yes, they're doing a C-section. So
they're going to do a C-section.
So they scheduling it. Yeah.
So you know it will happen then.
Yeah,
okay.
it will happen.
Where is it?
Crestwood.
Crestwood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right off of Airport Road.
All right. I'm gonna come down there.
Yeah, Crestwood. Monday, 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
The baby will be here.
I'll get with you on we'll bring the whole we'll all come down there. Hell yeah, man. Baby Ezra coming next Monday, a week from today.
Next Monday, man.
All right.
That is insane. Yeah.
I know, right?
But that's my life. That was my week.
Wow.
Yeah. That's all I got.
It's been a fun week.
It's been a good week.
I just want to say again how much of a pleasure it is for me to be around you and your family. You got a beautiful family. I always feel like home. There's always kind of somebody yelling a little bit at somebody else, or we always have a good time.
We really do.
Yeah. You got a beautiful family,
and I got some good friends.
The more we unpack these layers of what it is that makes Q the messenger, the more we find out why.
Right, and I say all that. That's nothing I never brag about. That's nothing I never tell anyone. Unless they happen to just be around.
I've known you for however long now.
You know me for a couple of years,
and I'm just finding out a lot of these things.
That I raised my little sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you were just a regular old bum like the rest of us.
Nah,
look at you. Look at you. Done served this country overseas.
Yep. You gonna give me emotion.
We had a conversation one time, and Q said if I ran for office, he'd vote for me. You remember what I said? I said, you don't want me as the guy. I'll be a real good support guy for you, but I would vote for you. And look at this.
Right.
First political stunt right here.
Emotional,
Q the messenger, one of these days, is going to run for an office. And when somebody goes back into his past and listens to these podcasts to find out what he's all about,
I'm going to get canceled.
You're going to get voted in.
You're going to get
voted straight in.
They going to cancel me, Kevin. Golly, man.
It's truly a pleasure to have you as a friend, man.
Yeah. I would say the same.
Thank you, sir.
I would say the same. Thank you.
And it's always a new adventure.
Good to have friends in high places.
I like having...
my boy, he got friends in low places. I got friends in high places.
High places.
Yeah.
I got some friends in low places, too.
I think I can scrowl jump a few if I had to.
Sometimes those folks...
jump a few.
They're the ones that'll show up when stuff gets crazy.
Right. They really would.
When it really gets nuts, it's those friends in low places that are like, hey, man, I got a 4-wheel drive and a chain and a 12-gauge shotgun. Whatever else you need, we can get on the way.
We can get it on the way.
You know? Yeah, you need a couple of those.
I think that's where your redneck friends come.
You need a few
play.
redneck friends.
You need you a redneck friend.
At least one. Yeah.
At least one.
Yeah. So here's the question.
Uh-huh.
Are you the redneck friend?
I think so, Shay.
Sometimes I think I am too.
I think I'm
especially
a redneck
if you see my new van.
especially if you. I think.
But you know, sometimes a redneck can be defined as that person who may not be the most, let's call it sophisticated in the ways of the world or whatever it is. But again, he shows up with a 4-wheel drive and a chain and a shotgun.
He shows up with
whatever that means in your world, whatever that metaphor would, maybe he shows up with a credit card and a hotel reservation and a bottle of wine, whatever those tools are that get you out of a jam in your world. You need to have somebody that shows up with those.
Right.
Who do you call at 2:00 in the morning? Now I'm feeling bad because I broke down with my van. You already gave me a hard time about not calling you with a trailer.
I didn't know you had the trailer. I got
a
damn car dolly.
But,
we would have pushed that damn thing.
It's good to know somebody with a car dolly.
Yep.
It's good to know somebody that maybe has been into a couple of hard situations themselves. And if no other, I got a friend who's real good at, I'll just say mechanicking. He's just a good general mechanic all around. I met him when he was the head mechanic at Midway Motorcycle Shop.
Okay.
Over on Highway 72. And turns out he's a man of many talents, and he's much better at the technical things than I am. Mm-hmm. And so if I've got to do something like I'm getting my little Ninja ready to sell right now, and he's been helping me with the process, we're going to finish it up tomorrow. I got a brand new petcock.
Brand new petcock. Put it in own offer reserve.
The old one was leaking, and rather than I could rebuild it with a kit for like $15.99, or I could get a whole brand new OEM for $59.99, and I'm going to sell it. So it's going to be $59.99 for one that I know is going to work. This might go to a kid, and if it is, it might be somebody's first motorcycle.
Right.
And if it is, I want it to be right for him. And I just about got it till we rebuilt the car. It'll be sold by the time this goes out, hopefully. But there you go. If you're looking for a little Ninja 250, I got a cherry one. But this guy's, if I need something worked on and it's a little sketchy for me, I give him a call. Chances are he knows how to fix it.
And he's there.
He's there, yeah. Good to have somebody that can get you out of a jam. Mm-hmm. If I'm like, man, I got pieces everywhere, he'll be like, all right, I'm coming.
Hey, I'll be there.
Yeah, I used to be my son's redneck back in his 20s. He went through a few cars. And I'd pull him home. Probably at least a half a dozen times I had to pull him home in one way or
just
another. Just
old chain or rope tied to the bumper, tied to the frame.
One time I had to go almost all the way to Augusta and rent a car dolly. And,
oh, wow.
And that was a whole, that's a whole nother thing. Many hundreds of miles pulling his Mazda 626 back home. With his first girlfriend. Yeah, it was a tough, But anyways, I would always take a picture of him. I would make him unhook it when we got home. Like, I'm not climbing under there to unhook whatever it is, the chain, the top, whatever it is. You're going to have to. And I would take a picture of him unhooking his stuff in my front yard. And I used to give him a hard time about it, but I don't anymore so much.
You don't?
He's turned out. You learn something about how to work on stuff and how to get out of a jam.
Yep,
and if I needed a long haul road trip partner, my son would be right there on the top of the list, because if some stuff went down, we'd figure out a way to MacGyver it or redneck it or something.
Right. Friends in high places.
Friends in high places. And friends in low places.
And friends in low places.
I got your family just a little bit. I can't remember who it was that was standing there. We were at the baby shower Saturday night. And Q and I were talking. You and I were talking. I'm looking right at you, talking about you in the third person. But we were talking about what time we were going to be at the camp.
Okay. Yeah.
So those of you listening probably know my wife is one of the managers of the camp. And he said, "What time are you going to be there?" And I said, "Oh, I don't know." I said, "Can't remember what time my rolling time is, but I'm sleeping with one of the managers, so I think I'll get away with it."
Yeah.
Whoever it was that was standing there just started laughing. She was like, "Oh," and put it together for a second. It's like, wait a minute, what did he say?
Ain't your wife over there? My wife is.
Yes, she is, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, my wife is the manager.
Yeah.
How about those champagne shots?
Champagne shots.
They were champagne shots.
I forgot about champagne shots. We rolled up and the ladies were in a circle doing shots of champagne out of these tiny little plastic. Champagne shots.
And we was like, man, that's a good title.
Yeah, champagne shots.
Champagne shots.
Be like that, what was that guy, Robin Leach? Champagne wishes and caviar dreams. Remember
Caviar dreams.
Champagne.
You're
pretty bougie when you're doing champagne shots.
You
is
damn
all I'm
sure
saying.
is.
That's
a champagne shot.
That's not just regular pinky finger in the air.
Nah.
This is past mimosas.
I mean, that seemed like the venue for champagne shots. Though.
I started to do one myself.
Right.
I like a glass of bubbly now and then. What do you think?
That champagne.
You like champagne?
Yeah, I can drink me some
I like
champagne.
dry champagne. I'm
not a dry guy.
Yeah, I need it to be. I don't like the rosé or whatever.
I like mine sweet. I think we kind of talked about that with
what
the
say you,
wines.
Kevin? Champagne? Can go for either sweet or dry. Okay.
I'm a sweet guy.
Yeah, I always prefer dry, but except whiskey, and I don't like Scotch, which is dry whiskey. But I can't do it. I got to have bourbon if I'm drinking whiskey. But I do prefer tequila.
But you prefer the tequila. Yeah, you're a tequila guy.
I like a good whiskey and I love a good tequila.
Don Julio.
Don Julio is my favorite.
Don Julio.
You ever go to the theater over in Bridge Street?
Yes.
Is it Bridge? Yeah, Bridge Street.
Yeah, the cinema.
It used to be.
What is it called?
Bridge Street
Cinemark.
Used to be nicer.
Cinemark. I think it's called Cinemark.
So I don't know if they still do it now.
You
but
said it used to be nicer.
I feel like it did.
I think it's pretty nice now.
It's been a while since I've been, so I don't know. Do you ever go upstairs?
Never been upstairs.
If you sit upstairs, it's like 18 plus, and you can take a drink into the theater. They got a bar outside. They got a wine dispenser. You can dispense your own glass of wine up there because you had to show ID just to get up to the upper level. You had to be 21. I said 18, but it's 21. And then you could take. I don't know if it's still that way, but it used to be. And that, you paid a little bit extra. They called it the privé. You paid a little extra to go upstairs, but then there were no kids. And you could have a drink in there, and you got, you had, there was a waiter that, you could have a drink delivered if you wanted to, I remember sitting up there thinking about the dichotomy of how the world has changed.
Right.
So think about 75 years ago in this country, traditionally, if you had a movie theater with a balcony, that was segregation.
That's segregation. That's what we said.
And that would have been considered, beneath the white people or whatever. And now I was paying extra for a seat in the balcony so I could have a drink up there.
So you could have a drink up there as white folks.
As white folks. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But then I thought about the dichotomy of thinking over the balcony, and the people that maybe couldn't afford the privé experience were down there below, and I kind of felt bad about the whole experience. But I got another glass of wine, and it was okay.
It reminds me of like how black people used to have to ride on the back of the bus.
Yeah, for sure.
Shit, we get on the bus now. That's where we want to be.
Want to be in the back of the bus.
Of the bus.
I want to be on the back of the bus.
Yeah, everybody want to get to the back of the bus.
That's where the cool kids are.
That's where the cool kids are.
That's probably where it came from. I bet the back of the bus back in the day was a party.
Oh, man.
All the little prim and proper, Miss Margaret or whatever sitting on front, and I bet there was probably a craps game going on somewhere.
Who knows?
Maybe a bottle being passed. I bet it was having a good time.
On the back of the bus.
Little jazz music playing just for good luck. Somebody had a saxophone back there.
Hey, shout out Rosa Parks.
Shout out Rosa Parks.
God damn.
Hey, but you know what? I went to a theater down in Albertville, I think it was. There was a theater down there that had the balconies that had glass. There was a glass window there, and you had to hear it through a speaker. And back in the day, that was most definitely what that was. This was a really old theater, and that was the segregated place. But in modern times, you could rent out one of those rooms and have all your friends up there, and they didn't check your bags real close. Albertville was a dry county, but you could sneak in. It was kind of a wink, wink, nod, nod.
I know Albertville was a dry county.
It was. Wherever this was a dry county then. I'm pretty sure it was in Marshall County. Wherever, I think it was in Albertville.
In Albertville, yeah.
Somewhere down in that area in Marshall County anyways. But we would sneak alcohol up in there, and then, of course, y'all know me, when I, sneak whatever you want to sneak up in there, But then it would be a party there, and by the time it was over, you weren't watching the movie. It was just
wow,
having a good time.
Albertville. I got a buddy from Albertville. I do that market at Bailey Cove with.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, his name Tyler.
There's a famous comedian from Albertville. An Asian guy with a southern accent. You know who I'm talking about?
Is it Joey? What's his name?
I can't remember his name.
Is it Filipino dude? I think I know who you're talking about.
He's Asian, but when he opens his mouth, he sounds like an Alabama country boy.
Yeah. I think I know exactly.
Cannot remember his name. He's been around for a while.
Joey Coy. Like Koi. Joey Koi, something like that. I don't know.
That name sounds familiar, but I'm not sure if that's the guy.
Don't let me get to
He's from Albertville, though. And he tells jokes about Alabama. And his wife's family is from Albertville, is what it is. What is it? No, that's not him. Not Joe Coy.
Joey Coy.
I'm looking at a picture of him. Google, Mr. Producer, if you don't mind, Google Asian comedian from Albertville, Alabama. I bet it'll come right up.
Yeah, that's very.
We'll see. There's probably only one, honestly,
Specific.
Asian comedian from Albertville, Alabama.
Very specific.
That's not him.
He's a mystery.
He's a mystery now. Maybe I made it up. Maybe it's a time. You know,
Shay making stuff up.
Just BSing down.
It sounded
Man,
good though. If we never
speaking of-
Googled it, I would have believed it.
See, I'm busted by Google.
Google.
Maybe it's not Albertville. I'm pretty sure it was. Anyways, whatever
And
it is.
he says Albertville, Arborville. Don't say Albertville.
Arborville.
The guy that's from there.
Right.
Oh man, his name's Tyler. He's hilarious. Arborville.
Well,
Arborville.
shout out Albertville, Alabama.
Yep. Shout out Albertville.
Meth capital of Alabama, for what I
Right.
understand.
Have you ever been to that? They built like a new park there. I mean, it's nice. Top of the line
In Albertville?
in Albertville.
No.
Got like a open like stadium for like live music and stuff.
Really?
Got like a
Like an
indoor
amphitheater or
swimming
whatever.
pool, like an amphitheater.
Really?
I mean, it's beautiful.
Is there a-
Softball fields. I'm talking like a.
Is there a disc golf course there?
It might be. I'm talking. It's a multi-million-dollar
Wow.
venue in Albertville.
If there's disc golf, I'll
'Cause
go play.
When my son used to swim, we had a tournament there, and I was
Okay.
like, "Why the hell is this in the middle of Albertville?" I mean, talking multi-million-dollar type venue, in Albertville. It's very nice.
Wow. Well, shout out Albertville.
Shout out Albertville.
Little towns with big, Huntsville once a little town with big dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I'm looking at a picture of it. That is beautiful.
Oh, Kevin pulled it up.
That's gorgeous.
That venue, yeah. I mean,
Is that a wave pool?
this is in Albertville.
Is that a wave pool or is that that's the amphitheater? That's a nice
Oh my
amphitheater.
goodness! I mean, when you see it,
That's beautiful.
it'll make you think like Huntsville don't even
Wow.
have nothing like this.
Wow, that is beautiful.
Yeah, it's very beautiful.
Well, all right, man. We got to figure out a way to wrap this up.
Oh, we gotta. It's time.
75 minutes.
Hey, 75 minutes.
I'm not kidding.
God damn.
I know, right?
You know what I said? If I said it once, I said it 1,000 times, Shay.
It just goes by like nothing.
It seems like we just set out.
It does. It does.
Golly.
I got the 5-minute warning like 20 minutes ago.
Right. And we kept going. I don't even think we scratched the
I
surface.
shook it off like
Have
a
we-
baseball
Have we scratched
pitcher.
the surface?
We haven't even come close.
I think we only talked about 2 things. I don't even know what we talked about.
I'm going to have to listen to it again to find out all the rabbit holes we went down.
Oh, yeah. We did go to get the damn Alice in the Wonderland for a second.
But it's spontaneous and it's our mind. It's what's in our thoughts,
Off with his head. What that the Queen and Alice in Wonderland?
I got to go back and watch Alice in Wonderland again. What's
man.
what's
Off
the version?
off with his head.
What's the movie version of Alice in Wonderland that I need to watch to get ready to watch with my daughter?
Didn't Johnny Depp do one?
I'm not 100% sure I've seen the movie.
He was the
I've
Mad
read-
Hatter. I think Johnny Depp was the Mad Hatter in one,
probably
in the
don't
latest
see that
one.
I've read the
I
book.
think so.
I've read the book, but
They
I
said
don't
the
know
book's
if I've
pretty
really,
dark.
It does get, it goes
Gets
down some
kinda
rabbit. Yeah,
it
it
goes
gets a
down
little
the
dark.
rabbit
Yeah.
hole.
the classic cartoon.
Yeah. That's at first, but eventually I'm gonna.
Transition to
How do you know the good if you never are allowed to at least see a little bit of the bad?
Mhm.
I don't believe in sheltering your kids from, they got to find out about things somehow. I've heard people say don't take your kids to a funeral or what have you, and it's like,
What?
okay, but how do they, because death is too traumatic for them.
I went to funerals as a kid. I turned.
It's one of the reasons why pets are good,
A pet's gonna die.
because it gets them used to the idea of death. We've got a dog who's 12, 13 years old, and she's got cancer, and I don't know how long she's going to make it.
Mhm.
Madeline won't remember her death, when it happens,
Yeah,
but
probably you don't
know.
start remembering stuff to what 4 or 5.
probably. I can remember flashes of stuff earlier than that, but just flashes,
Ooh, really?
like a scene. Yeah, I can remember. Some-
Traumatic, typically. Something that just kind of scarred in your brain. Like, oh, I can remember
No,
that.
maybe seared, but not necessarily
Seared?
scarred. Yeah,
Mhm.
no, I don't think so. I didn't have anything really traumatic happen until I was older.
I can remember some. I think that my earliest remember is getting burnt by iron.
Okay.
An iron fell on my foot. Not
Okay.
abuse, but
Yeah.
you know-
trauma is trauma. Yeah.
whatever. Mom, grandma, whatever was ironing something on the floor, and I
Mhm.
come by and kick it, and
Yeah. My son.
and I had to be maybe 2, 3. I still got the scar on my foot.
Yeah. My son
From
and I
that.
were talking about, he remembers putting his arm, he fell on a kerosene heater. He not fell necessarily, but he went to toddle, and I had my daughter, my oldest daughter, she was an infant at the time, and he toddled and burned himself on a kerosene heater.
And how old was he?
He was 3.
3, yeah. He can remember. He can remember
and he
that.
remembers that. He doesn't
you can
remember the
remember
circumstances or anything else around.
But he remember getting burnt.
Yeah, he remembers the pain of that. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But I can remember not necessarily trauma, but I can remember. I remember throwing my pacifier away, and I was really little. That's a long story, but I remember a scene of
That'd be a hell of a passy.
Well, it was my mother made it a big thing. Like a rite of passage. You're a big boy if you go put your pacifier in the trash can outside the apartment.
She made you go through it. Okay.
And for whatever reason, I can remember that trash can. Yeah. I remember the scene of where the trash can was in like the front of the apartment building, and I've described it to my mother, and she said, "Yeah, that's what it was." So I do.
Made me go throw my passy away, boy.
When we were living in that same place in that same era, I busted my head open on a toy box and had to get a few stitches.
And you remember that?
I remember the blood in my eyes. Isn't that why the blood in my eyes? Mm-hmm. I remember. A head wound, even a small one, scalp wound bleeds like crazy.
Yeah,
and
you
so
get your head split. It
bled
bleeds
all over my face, and so I would have had blood in my eyes, and I remember seeing red through the blood. It's not like a creepy thing,
mm-hmm.
I mean, I remember it hurting, but it's probably the pain probably makes me remember it. But the memory, I guess, that I carry from being however old I was, probably about 2,
mm-hmm.
is that I remember looking out and seeing red. Through the blood in my eyes. That's a little gory. I didn't mean to. Like it's not something I have attached with.
Literally,
and that's why I'm such an asshole my whole life. That's other reasons why that happened. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't that. But as far as earliest memories, that's probably that or the pacifier is the earliest that I know of that I remember, and I would have been about 2.
Remember throwing your pacifier away?
Yep.
I remember going to pick my own switch.
Oh, pick your own switch.
That situation. Yep. Go pick.
You don't want to pick one too small.
Go pick your own switch.
But not too big either.
Yep.
Yep.
Go pick your. My grandma used to make me do that, but she was a pushover. She never used it.
My mother was one to get pissed off, and then she'd just grab whatever was near.
And,
Yeah. She had a ping pong paddle she kept around close at hand in the kitchen for that purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the time she broke it. She was wailing on me with it, and she broke it, but she wasn't done yet, so she went and got a yardstick to finish the job. Yeah.
My kids, they would say they would rather get beat by me than my wife.
So this may be controversial, especially in this company, but I've made the decision with my youngest daughter, I'm never going to spank her.
I never spanked Leilani.
Never spanked Leilani?
Never, ever. My son, I haven't spanked him probably since he was probably 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Last time I spanked my oldest son.
Okay.
But I never spanked Leilani.
I think there's a place for spanking, and I think it can be a good tool. I think a lot of people use it as a way to vent their own anger.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people use it I think a lot of times it's lazy parenting.
Mm-hmm.
You can.
There's so many other avenues.
There are so many other avenues, and you can scare a child into being obedient while you're there. I was raised in an environment of, because I said so, and, don't disrespect your, it was a very, very overly strict. We've talked a little bit about that, but it was an overly strict environment, artificially strict, and some of it was short-sighted parenting. Some of it was lazy parenting. And when I first got old enough to realize that I had some autonomy from my parents, and I'm not talking about when I moved out of their house, I'm talking about when I became a teenager and realized that my 10-speed would take me as far as I wanted it to take me.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I realized that I could move about unseen at nighttime, I was early on into mischief.
It was mischievous.
Yeah, I was early on mischievous. And I guess the reason was because at an early age, I kind of knew that some of the stuff that I was being taught was garbage. And then the only authority wasn't about what was right or wrong. It was about what you got caught doing or didn't get caught doing. And as long as I didn't get caught, it's not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I was real good at not getting caught. And I would rather teach a child to make smart decisions because of the consequences rather than, it's easy to bring religion into play because that was a part of my upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
But when you tell a child that there's some sort of a being that's constantly watching over them, and the smallest thing that you do is going to get you literally burning in hell. Literally burning in hell. Omnipresent and omniscient and omnipotent.
And
That's the one.
Yeah,
Omnipotent.
omnipotent.
And vengeful. I am a vengeful God. You know, all the things that the Bible describes as God as being. If you're a child who thinks about things and takes things literally and maybe reads a lot because they don't have a whole lot of social interaction, you start seeing what it really means. You see beyond the euphemisms that people use to say that God is love, and yet you haven't read the story about David and Bathsheba. You haven't really considered Lot's wife.
Sodom and Gomorrah, Lot's wife.
And what happened afterwards?
She turned into a pillar of stone.
For looking over her shoulder.
Just looking back. Don't look back.
Don't look back. But
don't look back.
Lot's
wife.
So what
turned into a pillar of stone.
What's God? What
pillar
is the Bible?
Pillar of salt.
Pillar
of salt.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Correction. Yeah.
What is God's relationship with Lot's wife, supposedly? God is the Father, right?
Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost.
So as a father, we're supposed to believe that this loving Father, because of the momentary decision to look over her shoulder, he killed his own daughter for that?
For disobedience.
But then you know what happened after that, right? With Lot. You know, Lot and his 2 daughters escaped.
Now we need someone to sire some children. We need a
the family name is going.
We need a sire.
And these young girls are of age where they want to bear children.
Sire.
So Lot and his 2 daughters escape after God has turned Lot's wife into a pillar of salt. They escape into the caves in the mountains and live there while they try and figure out what they're going to do after Sodom and Gomorrah.
They got him drunk though, I think.
Got him drunk.
I think they got him drunk. Like the daughters took advantage of him in this situation.
Okay, that's easy to say.
I don't know.
But we both been drunk. We both been in some circumstances. Twice in a row. Long story short, he impregnated both of his daughters.
They had to get him pretty drunk.
Now, he didn't get killed for that. Nor did the daughters get killed for that. Whichever one of them is the one that was at fault. They didn't get killed for that. But looking over your shoulder gets you turned into a pillar of salt. I didn't mean to go into. Look, I don't want to go into religious rabbit holes on this thing. But the point is, I don't know what the point is. Open your mind, people. Think about things.
Open your mind.
Open your mind. This show's supposed to be a defibrillator for your thoughts. Cue the messenger. You got 30 seconds to give us words of wisdom. Putting you on the spot, brother.
It's easier to make $1,000 than to save $1,000. Think about it. That's all I got.
Good enough for me. This is Vendor Chronicles.
Vendor Chronicles.
A long show, but hopefully worth it. Check us again next week.
We out.
Peace.
Peace.